Welcome back to Eject Media, where VHS is alive and well, and the shelves are always stocked with strange discoveries. Today we are shining a spotlight on some of the bigger names in horror, but not the original, more popular movies in the series. These are the horror sequels we find ourselves pulling off the VHS shelves more often than the originals, because they are bloodier, more over the top, and sometimes just plain crazy. Return of the Living Dead 3, 1993. Return of the Living Dead 3 takes the familiar zombie genre and gives it a darker, more emotional twist. Directed by Brian Yuzna, this 1993 installment follows Kurt Reynolds and Julie Walker, a young couple whose love is tested in the midst of a deadly outbreak caused by a military experiment gone wrong. When Julie is accidentally killed during the experiment, Kurt makes a desperate choice. He uses the reanimation serum on her. Unlike typical zombies, Julie retains fragments of her human emotions and memories, creating a haunting and complex bond between the two. Their struggle is no longer just about survival. It becomes a story of love, grief, and the terrifying consequences of defying life and death. The film doesn't shy away from its horror roots. Practical effects and makeup bring Julie's transformation to life in vivid, sometimes grotesque detail. As her body deteriorates, the tension rises, blending elements of body horror with the emotional weight of her struggle to cling to humanity. These sequences are both unsettling and strangely poignant, giving the film a unique edge compared to standard zombie fare. Mindy Clark delivers a standout performance as Julie, capturing both vulnerability and the eerie menace of a creature caught between life and death. J. Trevor Edmonds' Kurt anchors the story, portraying the desperation of a man trying to save the woman he loves while grappling with the unintended consequences of his actions. The tone of the film balances horror with emotional depth. It's darker and more serious than its predecessors, but it still carries the series' signature blend of macabre humor and social commentary. By the end, the film leaves a lasting impression, exploring themes of love, sacrifice, and identity in the face of overwhelming circumstances. Return of the Living Dead 3 may not have reached the iconic status of the original, but it stands out as a thoughtful and chilling entry in the series. It's a horror film that lingers, asking viewers to consider what it truly means to be alive and what we're willing to risk for the people we love. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, 1988. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2 continues the nightmarish journey introduced in Clive Barker's original Hellraiser, diving deeper into the dark and twisted world of the Cenobites. Directed by Tony Randall, this 1988 sequel follows Kirsty Cotton, played by Ashley Lawrence, as she struggles to recover from the horrific events of the first film. Kirsty wakes up in a psychiatric hospital, still haunted by her encounters with Pinhead and the other Cenobites. The staff question her sanity, but the real danger comes from Dr. Channard, played by Kenneth Cranham, a doctor whose obsession with the lament configuration puzzle box leads him down a path of unspeakable evil. Channard manages to resurrect Julia, the monstrous figure from the first film, setting in motion a series of events that draw Kirsty back into the Cenobites' realm. This film pushes the boundaries of horror, exploring the interplay between pleasure and pain while expanding on the mythology of hell and its nightmarish inhabitants. The Cenobites are more fully realized here, with new layers to their rules, desires, and terrifying presence. Doug Bradley returns as Pinhead, delivering a chilling and commanding performance that reinforces why the character has become an icon in horror cinema. Visually, the film is striking. The practical effects and makeup are grotesque, imaginative, and unforgettable, bringing the twisted world of the Cenobites to life in a way that feels both surreal and horrifying. From the dark corridors of the hospital to the hellish landscapes beyond, every frame builds tension and unease. Beyond the scares, the story gives Kirsty a stronger role, highlighting her determination, courage, and resourcefulness as she navigates impossible threats. The combination of suspense, psychological terror, and body horror keeps the audience constantly on edge. While it initially received mixed reviews, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2 has grown into a cult favorite, praised for its ambitious expansion of the Hellraiser universe. Its mixture of horror, fantasy, and complex mythology ensures that it stands out not just as a sequel, but as a bold and memorable entry in the franchise. By the end, viewers are left with a lingering sense of dread and awe, a testament to the film's ability to terrify while deepening the terrifying world of the Cenobites. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, 1982. Well, this is the one movie everyone probably guessed would be on this list. Season of the Witch takes the Halloween franchise in an unexpected direction, stepping away from Michael Myers to deliver a chilling, inventive horror story all its own. Directed by Tommy Lee Wallace and released in 1982, the film centers on a sinister plot that turns the beloved holiday into a night of terror. The story follows Dan Chalice, played by Tom Atkins, a man pulled into a web of mystery and murder after a string of bizarre deaths appear linked to a Halloween mask company called Silver Shamrock. The company's owner, Connell Cochran, played by Dan O'Herlihy, is an enigmatic figure whose charm hides a terrifying agenda. The masks, marketed to children, are far more than playful holiday merchandise. They are part of a deadly scheme involving ancient druidic magic and modern technology. Chalice teams up with Ellie Grimbridge, portrayed by Stacey Nelkin, whose father has fallen victim to Cochran's plan. Together, they uncover a horrifying truth. On Halloween night, these seemingly innocent masks are designed to turn children into instruments of death. The film's tension builds steadily, as every discovery adds to the sense that time is running out and the stakes could not be higher. What makes Halloween 3 so memorable is its atmosphere. Wallace masterfully blends horror with elements of science fiction and surreal imagery, creating a world that feels familiar yet eerily off-kilter. The score, crafted by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth, is iconic in its own right, perfectly enhancing the sense of dread and the looming threat of the mask company's plan. Although the absence of Michael Myers initially confused some fans, the film has since earned a devoted cult following. Its originality, dark humor, and social commentary, particularly its critique of consumerism and blind holiday traditions, set it apart from other entries in the series. Scenes of creeping dread, combined with moments of shock, leave a lasting impression that lingers long after the credits roll. By the end, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch delivers a uniquely unsettling experience. It's a film that rewards viewers who embrace its strangeness, offering inventive storytelling, suspenseful horror, and a lingering sense of unease. For fans of the franchise and horror enthusiasts alike, it remains a bold, distinctive, and unforgettable entry. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 1986. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 takes the iconic horror of the original and turns it on its head, blending grotesque terror with dark humor and biting satire. Directed by Tobe Hooper in 1986, this sequel follows radio host Stretch, played by Caroline Williams, who accidentally stumbles into a nightmare after recording one of Leatherface's horrifying murders. From the moment Stretch becomes entangled with Leatherface and his cannibalistic family, the film dives into a bizarre, chaotic world. The family is more grotesque, more deranged, and more eccentric than ever, with the addition of Chop Top, played memorably by Bill Moseley. His twisted antics and sadistic humor inject the film with a strange energy, balancing horror with absurdity in a way that makes the movie uniquely unsettling. Hooper's direction is fearless, mixing shocking gore with moments of satirical commentary. The opening scenes immediately establish the tone, showcasing extreme violence, while also reflecting on society's obsession with media and sensationalism. Tom Savini's practical effects elevate the film, delivering gruesome imagery that is both shocking and strangely captivating. Caroline Williams anchors the story with a grounded performance, transforming from a confident radio personality into a terrified survivor fighting for her life. Her escalating fear mirrors the audience's own disorientation as the line between horror and dark comedy blurs. The family's twisted sense of loyalty and ritualistic behavior adds another layer of terror, exploring the themes of madness and the grotesque distortions of familial bonds. While the film initially received mixed reviews, it has since developed a cult following. Fans appreciate how it boldly strays from the original straight horror formula, embracing a more satirical, over-the-top approach while maintaining a tense, unsettling atmosphere. By the end, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 leaves a lasting impression, combining visceral gore, dark humor, and social commentary in a way that only Tobe Hooper could deliver. It's a film that shocks, entertains, and lingers in your mind long after the credits roll, a standout in both the franchise and 1980s horror cinema. Phantasm 2, 1988. Phantasm 2 picks up the nightmarish, surreal world established in Don Coscarelli's 1979 cult classic. Released in 1988, this sequel follows Mike, played by James LaGrosse, as he continues his battle against the terrifying tall man, portrayed by Angus Scrimm. Years after his traumatic encounters, Mike is still haunted by memories of the sinister mortician and his deadly minions. The story begins with Mike escaping from a mental institution, determined to stop the tall man once and for all. He reunites with Reggie, the loyal ice cream vendor played by Reggie Bannister, who has been drawn back into the chaos despite his own fears. Together, they embark on a mission to confront the tall man and save Liz, Mike's love interest, who has become a target in the villain's twisted schemes. What sets Phantasm 2 apart is its seamless blend of horror, fantasy, and science fiction. The film expands the mythology of the tall man while maintaining the surreal, dreamlike atmosphere that made the original so distinctive. Practical effects, inventive camera work, and imaginative creature design keep viewers on edge, creating a sense of dread that is both visceral and uncanny. The tall man remains a figure of pure menace, embodying the fear of death and the unknown. Angus Scrimm's performance adds a chilling gravitas to the role, making him one of horror's most enduring villains. The film also explores themes of loss, trauma, and the struggle to confront evil, giving the narrative an emotional weight beneath the fantastical horror. Fans of the series will remember the flying spheres, the tall man's signature weapons, which return with even more creative and lethal designs. These sequences, combined with a tense and atmospheric score, enhance the suspense and highlight the film's unique visual style. Although opinions were mixed when it first hit theaters, Phantasm 2 has earned a devoted following over the years. Its surreal horror, inventive storytelling, and memorable performances make it more than just a typical sequel. It's an essential chapter in the Phantasm saga. By the end, the film leaves viewers with that lingering sense of unease and wonder, a reminder that the tall man's shadow looms large, and in this world nothing is ever as it seems. Bloodstone Subspecies 2, 1993. Bloodstone Subspecies 2, directed by Ted Nicolau, continues the dark vampire saga started in the original Subspecies film. Released in 1993, this sequel follows the terrifying vampire Radu Vladislas, played by Anders Hove, as he grows more powerful and increasingly malevolent. The story picks up after Radu's brutal attack on a group of friends in Romania. Michelle, portrayed by Melanie Shatner, is one of the few survivors, and she remains haunted by the horrors she witnessed. As Radu seeks to reclaim a mystical bloodstone that amplifies his powers and strengthens his control over others, Michelle and her allies must confront not only him, but the supernatural dangers that come with such dark magic. What makes this film stand out is its atmosphere. Nicolau leans into the Gothic Romanian setting, using shadowy castles, fog-filled forests, and eerie candlelit interiors to create a tense and immersive environment. The practical effects, especially Radu's monstrous transformations and the Bloodstone's mystical energy, highlight the series' commitment to inventive, hands-on horror. The film also explores themes of power, seduction, and survival. Radu is not just a monster. He embodies the tragic, almost hypnotic allure of vampirism, making him both fascinating and terrifying. Michelle's struggle against him provides an emotional core, giving viewers someone to root for amid the dark, supernatural chaos. While it received mixed reviews upon release, Bloodstone Subspecies 2 has earned a cult following for its campy charm, atmospheric storytelling, and commitment to the vampire mythos. Anders Hov's performance as Radu, intense and unrelenting, remains a highlight of the film. By the end, the film delivers a blend of horror, dark fantasy, and gothic romance, immersing viewers in a shadowy world where the line between life and death is blurred, and death, human and monster, is chillingly blurred. Puppet Master 2, 1990. Puppet Master 2 continues the darkly imaginative story of André Toulon and his psychically animated puppets, diving deeper into the eerie world, where life, death, and the supernatural collide. Directed by David Allen in 1990, this sequel picks up shortly after the events of the first film, following a group of researchers who are drawn into the deadly mysteries surrounding Toulon's creations. Led by the determined Megan Gallagher, played by Elizabeth McClellan, the team hopes to uncover the secrets of the puppets. But curiosity quickly turns into danger as the malevolent dolls, familiar faces like Blade, Pinhead, and Jester, spring to life to protect their master's secrets. Each puppet brings its own terrifying abilities and personality, and the practical puppetry and animatronics make their movements unnervingly lifelike, heightening the tension in every scene. At its core, the film explores more than just horror. Toulon's quest for immortality and the puppet's desire to remain animated give the story a philosophical edge, reflecting on the boundaries between life and death. This adds depth to the narrative, making the stakes feel both supernatural and personal. The sequel builds on the campy charm of the original, while upping the suspense and gore. Moments of dark humor are sprinkled throughout, balancing the tension and keeping viewers on edge. The performances, particularly from McClellan, ground the film, making the terror feel immediate as the human characters confront the relentless puppets. While it may not have reached mainstream acclaim, Puppet Master 2 has become a cult favorite. Fans appreciate its inventive premise, memorable characters, and the clever ways the puppets carry out their attacks. It's a film that entertains while expanding the lore of the franchise, setting the stage for future installments with style and creativity. By the end, the movie leaves a lingering sense of both fascination and unease. Puppet Master 2 is a thrilling blend of horror, dark fantasy, and clever storytelling, offering a unique puppet-driven nightmare that horror fans won't soon forget. Witchboard 2, The Devil's Doorway, 1993. Witchboard 2, The Devil's Doorway continues the story of supernatural terror introduced in the original film, this time focusing on a young woman named Paige, played by Ami Dolence. After the tragic death of her boyfriend, Paige moves into an old apartment, hoping for a fresh start. But instead of peace, she finds a mysterious Ouija board left behind by a previous tenant. Curiosity quickly turns to danger as Paige begins using the board to communicate with the dead. At first, the contact seems harmless, but it soon becomes clear that she has opened a doorway to powerful and malevolent forces. Strange visions, unsettling phenomena, and encounters with vengeful spirits draw her deeper into a dark supernatural web she doesn't fully understand. The film blends classic haunted house and possession tropes with psychological tension, creating a slow-burning sense of dread. Paige's emotional journey, her grief over losing her boyfriend, and her growing fear make the stakes personal. The audience feels her isolation and escalating terror, which gives the story more depth than a typical ghost story. Director Kevin S. Tenney uses practical effects, eerie lighting, and a moody soundtrack to heighten the atmosphere. Shadows seem to move on their own. Objects appear mysteriously, and the sense of an unseen presence lurking just beyond the frame keeps viewers on edge. While not widely acclaimed at the time of release, the film has found a dedicated following among fans of supernatural horror. Its focus on character and the psychological consequences of tampering with forces beyond human understanding sets it apart from many other sequels of the era. By the conclusion, Paige's battle with the board reaches a tense climax, emphasizing the film's central warning. Curiosity can have dangerous consequences when dealing with the spirit world. Witchboard 2 delivers an eerie, suspenseful ride that's both a chilling sequel and a cautionary tale about the unseen dangers that lie just beyond our perception. Demons 2, 1986. Demons 2 picks up the chaotic, blood-soaked energy of Lamberto Bava's original, taking the horror from a movie theater to the confined, tense environment of a high-rise apartment building. Released in 1986, this sequel continues to explore the terrifying effects of demonic possession, while adding a clever meta-twist that sets it apart from its predecessor. The story centers on Sally, a young girl who is innocently watching a screening of the first Demons movie on television. But as the familiar horrors play out on screen, reality begins to warp. The demonic forces from the film seem to seep into the real world, turning the residents of the building into possessed killers. What starts as a birthday celebration quickly spirals into a frantic fight for survival. Bava's direction keeps the pace relentless. The film is packed with practical effects that are both gruesome and inventive, from horrifying transformations to chaotic, claustrophobic sequences as the demons stalk the narrow hallways. The heavy metal soundtrack drives the tension, creating an electrifying atmosphere that keeps viewers on edge throughout. Beyond the gore, Demons 2 plays with the idea of media influencing reality. Watching horror on a screen becomes deadly, blurring the line between fiction and real-life terror. This concept adds a clever layer to the film, giving it a thought-provoking edge amid the carnage. The performances, particularly by the young actress playing Sally, add a sense of vulnerability that contrasts with the over-the-top madness around her. Each character faces their own nightmare, and the combination of dark humor and relentless horror keeps the film unpredictable and engaging. While it wasn't universally praised upon release, the film has gained a devoted following over the years, celebrated for its inventive kills, memorable sequences, and energetic style. It's a wild, relentless ride that embodies the best of 1980s Italian horror. By the time it ends, viewers are left both exhilarated and unnerved, a testament to Bava's ability to mix inventive visuals, frantic pacing, and supernatural terror into a uniquely unforgettable experience. Basket Case 2, 1990. Basket Case 2, directed by Frank Henenlotter, continues the bizarre and grotesque story of Dwayne Bradley and his deformed, formerly conjoined twin, Belial. Released in 1990, this sequel picks up shortly after the events of the original Basket Case and expands the story into a twisted dark comedy-horror hybrid. Dwayne and Belial find themselves in a dilapidated asylum, where they attempt to live a quiet life among other misfit patients. Belial, of course, is still rambunctious, causing chaos with his grotesque, mischievous antics. As the asylum's staff and other residents start to notice the unusual duo, tensions rise, leading to moments of both horrifying violence and absurd humor. What makes Basket Case 2 stand out is Henenlotter's signature mix of practical effects, body horror, and offbeat comedy. Belial is as expressive as ever, brought to life with inventive puppetry and makeup that give him a uniquely disturbing personality. The film takes the grotesque elements of the original and amplifies them, while introducing new, bizarre characters in the asylum who each bring their own strange flair to the story. The film also explores themes of acceptance and family, albeit in a twisted way. Dwayne's loyalty to Belial and their bond drives much of the narrative, providing a surprising emotional depth beneath the shock and gore. The humor is dark and often self-aware, making the over-the-top violence feel part of the film's quirky world rather than gratuitous. While it may not have achieved mainstream recognition, Basket Case 2 has become a cult favorite, celebrated for its creativity, practical effects, and unapologetically weird tone. Fans of the original will appreciate how it expands the story while keeping the grotesque charm and irreverent humor alive. By the end, you're left with a mix of horror and dark comedy, a strange but memorable continuation of Dwayne and Belial's macabre adventures. Well, there you have it. 10 bloodier, wilder, and sometimes downright bonkers horror sequels that have earned their place on our VHS shelves, and to us, even more memorable than the originals that started it all. Some are over the top, some are shocking, and some are just pure madness. But that's what makes them unforgettable. If you enjoyed this look at horror sequels that get a bit weird, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment with the sequel you reach for more often than the original. Don't forget, You can check out even more VHS gems over at our online store, ejectmedia.etsy.com. And remember, always be kind and rewind, because every movie is someone's favorite.